A very good evening, Zimbabwe. You are listening to Studio 7 from the Voice of America on Wednesday, December 15th, 2021. And this is the Diaspora Forum. I am Khethiwe Bhebhe.
And I'm Jonga Kandemiri.
We'd like to inform you, our listeners, that because of the coronavirus pandemic, we are not able to give you our usual show, and therefore you will not be able to call in since we are broadcasting from our homes.
Thanks for joining us. You're listening to Studio 7 Live Talk. This evening, we are discussing about COVID-19 and the continued rise in positive cases in the country.
We are also looking at the plight of Zimbabweans who are holders of the Zimbabwean special permits who are living on the edge following the government's decision to discontinue the program.
We are also going to talk to a Zimbabwean, Tawanda Chitapa, who left the country a couple of years ago and landed in the United States, where he did computer studies and is now a proud owner of Eland LLC, a private consulting company that helps hospitals solve business problems using technology, math, and computer techniques. Chitapa is also the system director at Norton Healthcare, where he is doing business intelligence, clinical value and healthcare analytics, and clinical information analysis.
But first, a look at COVID-19. In its daily report, the Ministry of Health reports that 6 people died of COVID-19 in Zimbabwe yesterday, and almost 6,000 tested positive for COVID-19. About 4,745 people have died of COVID-19 in Zimbabwe since March last year.
To date, a total of 3.9 million people have had their first dose against COVID-19, while close to 3 million received their second dose.
We will also look at the electronic passports launched yesterday by President Emerson Mnangagwa.
Wadiwa vateereri nevatariri, nhasi muchirongwa Diaspora Fourm chatinokurukura zvinosangana nevana veZimbabwe vari kunze kwenyika nevari munyika. Hachisi chevana veZimbabwe vari kunze kwenyika chete, aiwa, nemi vari munyika, nekuti tichitarisa zvinovaka Zimbabwe zvisinei nekuti uri kuvaka uri kunyika ipi. Saka nhasi musi wa15 zvita kana 15 December 2021 tiri kutarisa nezvedenda reCovid-19 patinonzwa kuti nezuro vanhu vatanhatu vakafa nedenda iroro, kuchitiwo vamwe vanoda kusvika zviuru zvitanhatu vakawanikwa vaine COVID-19 pavanhu vakaongororwa, kwesi kwakawanikwa vanhu 5,678 vaine COVID-19. Uwandu hwevanhu vafa neCovid kusvika pari nhasi hwava 4,745. Uwandu hwakakura kwazvo ihwohwo. Tichitarisawo kusvika pari nezuro, vanhu vanokwana kuita 3.9 million vakanga vabayiwa. Nhomba yavo yekutanga tingati vauda kusvika 4 million, nokuti i3,908,917. Saka tongoti vakuda kusvika 4 million vakanga vabayiwa nhomba yekutanga yekudzivirira COVID-19. Kuchiti vamwe vanoda kusvika mamiliyoni matatu vakanga vawana nhomba yavo yepiri. Tichatarisawo zvakare nyaya yechizvarwa cheZimbabwe chiri muno muAmerica, anonzi mukoma Tawanda Chitapa, vakabva kuZimbabwe makore adarika vakauya muno muAmerica vakaita zvidzidzo zvemakombiyuta. Tiri kunzwa kuti vari kuita unyanzvi kuburikidza neruzivo rwavo vachibatsira zvipatara nevamwe vanoita zveutano munyaya dzemakombiyuta imomo. Tichatarisawo zvakare nyaya yepassport kana gwaro rekufambisa rakaparurwa nezuro rinonzi kana kuti electronic passport. Tinonzwa kuti gwaro irori rakaparurwa nezuro nemutungamiri wenyika vaEmmerson Mnangagwa muna 2016. Takambonzwawo zvakare vakanga vari mutungamiri wenyika nguva iyoyo vaRobert Mugabe vachinzi vaparura zvakare gwaro irori. Saka hatizivi kuti chii chakazoitika muna 2016, asi nezuro ndo zvakaitika. Vakawanda vanga vachibvunza kuti iro gwaro irori rinonzi e-passport rinoshanda sei, rakamira sei, rakasiyana nemamwe magwaro ekufambisa mapassport. Ndo zvimwe zvatichakurukura izvo zvokuti aiwa rakamira sei, rine chip yakadii nezvimwe zvakadaro. Gibbs.
Kunjalo khonokho-ke okukhulunywa nguJonga. Lamhla esikhangelayo sikhangele COVID-19. Siyabona-ke ukuthi uhlangothi lwezempilakahle luthi kulabantu abayi-6 ababulawe yi-COVID-19 izolo, bese kusithi-ke abayi-5,678 ngabantu abahlolwe batholakala belegciwane le-COVID-19. Abayi-328 ngabantu abaphephe kumkhuhlane lo izolo. EZimbabwe-ke sokwaba labantu 177,690 asebabanjwa yi-COVID-19, kwaphepha abayi-130,279. Kuthi-ke labo asebabhubhayo kumbe ngithi ababulawa umkhuhlane lo bafika 4,745. kuzokuthi asebejujwe iJackson kumbe ngithi abajove iJackson yakuqala bayi 3,980,917 bese kusithi asebehlatshwe yesibili bayi 2,998,638. So singathi ke abantu abangani baphila legciwane le-COVID-19 bayi 42,666. Ye okunye njalo njengoba uJonke Chilo lapha sakhuluma lesizalo seZimbabwe esihlala lapha kwelemelika uTawanda Chitapa osebenza ke kukampani ekhangelana ngezempilakahle njalo le ikampani yakhe okuthiwa yi-Eland LLC. So khona ngapha ke kwelemelika uhlala eKentucky. Kuzobuya ke ama-passport phela lingakhohlwa ukuthi kulodaba lwama-passport lakho sakhuluma ngakho ke namhlanje khonokho ukuthi kambe udaba lolu lwama-passport luya ngaphi njengoba siyabona ukuthi ngo-2016 umgabe wakwenza khonokho waba le-electronic passport ukuthi kwaya ngaphi singazijonga ukuthi ama-passport lawa aqonda ngaphi kodwa siyakwazi ukuthi i-Israel yayile nkampani yayo yodwa yayisebenza le-Japan layikhona so singazi ukuthi kuhamba njani ubona njani jonga konke lokho
inyaya yakaoma Gibbs yekuti vana veZimbabwe vanga vachinzwisisa nyaya yegwaro irori rinonzi electronic passport rauri kutaura nezvaro nekuti vakawanda vari kuchema kuti magwaro avainawo zvino vakabhadhara mari yakawanda. Some are saying that they paid a lot of money to have the current passports that they have, but in 2 years' time they will cease to work as this new electronic passport will be in place, which means that those people who paid $300 to get new passports, they'll have to fork out more money to get these electronic passports. And many Zimbabweans are not happy with that arrangement.
And according to the Chronicle, in 2016, in April, the former late President Robert Mugabe actually launched this program, and indications are that the machines that were installed, Jonga, were going to produce 16,000 booklets per day. What happened to that program? Maybe there are some people who can come here and explain. I guess Joseph Tshuma will join us later today. We are going to talk about some of these things. And people living in the diaspora are very much concerned about this kind of situation. So let's switch over to this gentleman that we have today, and that is Mr. Tawanda Chitapa. Mr. Tawanda Chitapa is a Zimbabwean who used to play for Highlanders Football Club, and then he came here as a young man. He went to some universities and became what he is because of his Zimbabweanness. Here he is.
A father of one. My son is Isaiah, and he's 15 years old.
And what do you do for a living?
I am a director for healthcare informatics for a company called Norton Healthcare right here in Louisville. They're the biggest healthcare system in the state of Kentucky.
And what exactly do you do?
So what my job entails is I have oversight of a team of analysts, managers, and data scientists, folks who use data to report the value of the organization. By value of the organization, I mean we drive decision support systems. So we just look at the numbers, crunch them, use statistics, math, and computer techniques to glean insights into business performance. So we pretty much drive all the business intelligence within our company.
So if somebody had to say, tell me briefly exactly what you mean about this intelligence and, what exactly is it?
So if you look at today's businesses, we just about every business tries to drive data-based decisions. That's the most intelligent way to go about making decisions. So we take as much of the company's data assets, use technology, science, and mathematics to crunch the numbers that we then provide to our leadership to tell the story of what's going on in the company so that they could make better decisions, well-informed decisions.
In most cases, when these executives make decisions, they make decisions like what exactly?
So in healthcare, especially right now, it being one of the most heavily regulated, folks are trying to make decisions because if you look at healthcare, we're transitioning into more of a value-based model. So we get paid based on the quality of care that we provide and not necessarily how many people we see. So we're looking at things like readmission rates. We're looking at things like infection rates. So all those we take the numbers, we crunch them, and we try to help our leaders figure out where they need to focus. In a world of limited resources, you have only so much time to focus on things that really matter.
How did you get into this business?
My background is in computer science. So when I first came to America, I studied computer science for undergrad, and I graduated right after the dot-com crash. So I graduated 2002, and I had to go back to graduate school, and I did healthcare administration. So a merger of both those lands me where I am today.
And now we are also told that you are a principal at Eland LLC. What's this?
Yes, Eland LLC is a company that I started in 2008. It's a consulting service that helps healthcare organizations develop solutions, any business issues that they may have. We recommend solutions to help them solve those problems, be it technology solutions, be it decision-making solutions, be it even just, for example, electronic medical record implementations. We've done some of those, and I'm glad that we've been able to help so many different organizations in America set up and be successful with their technology solutions.
So what type of technology are we talking about here?
So we're talking about in healthcare, there's so many different technologies. For the most part, what we have specialized in is building electronic medical records to map those solutions to current business processes. Every company has their own DNA when it comes to business processes, and you need to make sure that your technology implementation aligns with those business processes and does not work against it. That's one of the areas we specialize in.
So now, if people talk about electronics and all these other things, you know, some people get a bit confused. So at the end of the day, let's say one example of this electronics. What is it?
So here's a good example of an electronic solution. So you know how when you go to the doctor's office and somebody's typing into a computer, capturing all your vitals, all your diagnosis information, behind that computer is a database that collects all your information. Again, that becomes the data that now, for example, with my team, we take that data and you combine it for a lot of different patients, and then we glean insights into the patient cohorts that a health system might be looking at. So that's one example of a system. Another example could be taking all the cost and the billing information for all our patients, consolidating it and trying to glean insight into what exactly our patient population is. Again, it enables ideas about what investments need to be made to make impact at a larger scale.
So if you were to talk to young people about your job, how would you encourage them to actually get into this type of job? What should they do?
Well, the biggest thing is STEM, right? That's what everyone is talking about today. Science, technology, engineering, those are the biggest places. So I encourage folks to take a lot of math classes, science classes, and of course, these days, there's a lot of folks who are being encouraged to do coding. So computer coding, be it some of the other languages like COBOL, or languages like C++, that's a good entry point into this. Of course, now there are other languages that are used for high-level programming, especially in the AI space, artificial intelligence. I encourage those as well.
Now, a little bit about yourself. So you came here after you played for the second team in Zimbabwe, right?
Yes, so many lifetimes ago, I played for Highlanders, Amahlola. That's where I grew up. I played as a junior there and then played for the reserves team right before I came to America.
And there were so many people that you're playing with, you know, like Tulani Biangube and others.
Yes, Tulani is a great friend. We played together. He was a little bit older, so he was in the first team as I was in the reserve team, but we both are actually from Gwabalanda. So I played with him. I played with guys like Mlamleli Ncube, who later played for Zimbabwe Saints and Wange. There were many other guys. Played with Zenzo Moyo growing up in the under-19s, Noel Cele, all those guys. I grew up playing with them, but it seems like such a lifetime ago now.
Yes. And then your last message, sir.
Yes, my last message. I think the biggest thing is I want to encourage, especially young Zimbabwean minds, to think without limitations. Go for what you want. America is a land of opportunity, and if you work hard, you will be rewarded in America.
Yeah, kunjalo ke singena ke esintwini. Kunjalo ke Chitapa.
Ngiyaphila.
There are Chonga. So there is a young man. He came here, long back, but he's doing wonders. He's doing wonders really.
Oh yeah, it's very impressive, Gibbs, and I wish we could also have him when we are talking about the e-passport, because that's his area too. He can explain better. Yes, but I'm very impressed by his credentials.
It's very impressive. Let's hear the Ndebele part in which he's talking about the same issues that we discussed, and then we will also speak in Shona.
Babalinjani.
Ngiyaphila kakhulu. Wena ukhulele kwabalanda labo biya
ngakhulele kwabalanda sibili khona phana ko J-Themba sasidlala emakhosi. Yikho sasidlala khona ibhora khona phana sangabafana abancane.
Ezikwakhweni
ezikwakhweni sibili
akusitshela ukuthi kade siwenzani njalo wafika lapha nini?
Khathesi ngisebenza lapha eLouisville, ikhampani engiyisebenzelayo kuthiwa yiNorton Healthcare, i-health system sibili enkulu ukwedlula zonke lapha eKentucky. Ngisebenza ngingumphathintambo onceda ngendaba zedata, driving ama-decisions data-based. That's what they call them now ku-company.
Singathi uyenzani sibili nxa abantu ungabatshela nje ngamafitshane ukuthi ubamba lokhu umtshina kumbamba amabhawudo kumbe lokhu lalokho?
Hayi, okukhathesi mina umtshina nisabambi, but abantu abanisebenzelayo bababambayo esekwenzayo ukuthatha yonke idata yecompany sibe sesisebenzisa i-maths, i-computer science, the statistics ukuthi sikhangele ezintweni zakhona zona ezama-data assets, sibe sesibona ukuthi kumeka umumo wezinto unjani ku-company, then amanye omphathintambo ku-company bebe sebesebenzisa siyabe sikubonile khona phana ukwenza ama-decisions for i-company.
Ngathi khona manje lapho usebenza khona ubona ngani kule mali kumbe kube njani? Abantu phela bayabuza ukuthi kambe kungabe kunjani khona?
Imali khona but ayisiyo yami. Hayi, imali khona sibili. I-healthcare ngenye la i-industry khona phe America eyokuthi loba kuthiwa kulani okwenzakalayo abantu bavele bayabe bekhona abagulayo, so akula mkuma 365 days ngomnyaka iminyango yabe ivulekile, so hayi ukuba khona imali ku-healthcare.
Yeah, so singathi siwasebenza kanganani labantu khonapho njalo labo abantu osebenza labo ngabantu abanjani?
Lapha eKentucky sengisebenze for 6 years. Ngingakasebenzi lapha eKentucky ngangimazakhele yakhe, ngisebenza ngiyi-consultant. Kodwa abantu engisebenza labo esikhathini esiningi lapha eKentucky ngabantu abanjengabo CEO oyabe engumkhulu we-company labantu bakhe, ngoba esikhathini esiningi babe bezama ukuthi bebone ukuthi umumo we-company ume kanjani, bebe sebebona ukuthi lapho kumele khona bangani bayavala kungaphi ukuze i-company iphumelele sibili.
Singathi ke kubo laba abakhulukhulu sibili babe bekhangela into ezinjani nxa ungakuthatha nje ukukodwa ukuthi lokho yikho ngani kwenzakala ku-healthcare nxa ngikuhluza nje?
Esikhathini esiningi thina enkampanini esikiyo we have about 2,000 metrics that esiwakhangelayo. Kodwa i-example engingakunika yona yile ukuthi nxa bekhangela befuna ukubona ukuthi imikhuhlane esiyibona engani yiyo egcwele endaweni lapha kuma-patients esiwakhangele yiwaphi. So it's one example. Okunye sijayele ukubona vele ama-patients ethu engadischarge esibhedlela akufanelanga bebe bephenduka. Nxa bephenduka ukuthi siyaphambanisa something ku-first visit leya. So siyakhangela futhi khona phana ama-patients nxa ephenduka, especially within 30 days, siwakhangele sibona ukuthi baphendukiswa yini, sibe sesibona ukuthi kuyini esingakwazi ukuthi sikulungise ukuthi bengasaphenduki esibhedlela. Kukahle sibili nxa kuyikuthi bahamba ku-outpatient beyobona udokotela outpatient, but ukuphenduka esibhedlela kubonakala kuyinto engalunganga.
Yeah, so ke siyabona njalo le company yakho kuthiwa i-Eland LLC in le khuluma ngempofu, something like that, eh?
Yeah. Hayi vele mina isibongo sami ngisakompofu, so ngakubona kufanele ukuthi ngiqalise company le ngike nike okhokho okuyimbijana. Yeah, iland iyancedisa khonokho engikwenzayo nisemsebenzini engisebenza kiyo, ngincedisa abanye aba out of state ukuthi be set up for success ngendaba yona le ukuthi bebe besebenzisa ama computer le statistics le maths ukwenza business ngoba hayi yikho it's the best way to go.
Yeah, khonapho ke nxa ukuthi usebenza into ezinjalo ezibhedlela, so kuyini ngathi ungathi ukunceda uzulu sibili ukunceda abantu khonokho kwema hospital kwesibhedlela.
Yeah, mina vele ngikhula ngangifuna ukuba ngudokotela nalo lapha ama patients, but akusahambanga kanjalo ngoba ngathi sengiqedile ngabona ukuthi I can still be helpful, ngibancedise sibila ama patients even though mina ngingasabakhangeli njengodokotela. So esikhathini esiningi i-example engiyinikileyo le ethi khona ukuthi ama patients engaphenduki within 30 days, isikhathi sokuthi umuntu uyakwanisa bephila sibili elemuli yangibo. Kwesinye isikhathi nxa ungaphendukanga le mali awususpendanga imali eningi kakhulu ungale, and emsebenzini uyabuhamba uhola futhi. So kunama intangibles ukuthi lami loba ngingasidokotela but nxa nginikeza information kubo administrator labo dokotela ngimeceleni kwabo ngibancedisa, lami ngingazifaka khona phana ukuthi hayi ngincedisile ukuphephisa ama patients.
Yeah, khona phana ngisubi nxa usilungiso kwesibhedlela anti kulama computer lezinto ezinjalo ukuhlola abantu yikho vele kusebenzayo lokho.
Yeah, hayi vele thina sisebenza segabheni lona liyana ele computer. Amanye ama solutions esiwanika amadokotela athi ukuthi bekhona phana bethatha ama patients belungisa ama patients, thina siyabe silungisa ama program azakhangela inombolo zama patients ebanike information upatient ekhona phana, into ekwesinye isikhathi enzima ukuthi udokotela abone ukuthi kuhamba njani ngoba la uyabe le information eningi kakhulu. So thina siyamncedisa simnika something that is pointed based on the patient's state.
Yeah, ungathini ke abantu abafuna ukufisa ukuthi bangene. Yeah, so there you are, Jonga. Is very articulate about what he's doing and very impressive indeed.
Oh yeah, ndo dzinonzi nyanzvi dzinoziva zvadzinoita Gibbs. Unoziva tikatitarisa nyaya yekudzidza, vazhinji vanotarisira kuti kana munhu akanganza adzidza anenge munhu asisakwanisa kunga achibatika pakurarama kwatinenge tichiita, asi ndiri kuona nematauriro avari kuita munhu anenge akasununguka akadzikama anoziva zvaanoita, zvinove zvinhu zvatinokurudzira uye zvatinoziva kuti zvinoitwa nevana veZimbabwe vakawanda. Saka tinoti kwaari aiwa ramba uchienderera mberi muning'ina nekuti mikana inovhurika chero kwauri unowana zvekuita, ndo vachadzokera kumusha vakuwedzera ruzivo ruri kuwanikwa munyika pari zvino.
Yeah, let's hear this last part in which he combines with Shona. There we are. So ngisacela ke ukuthi uphonge ukuthi khonokho okade ukukhuluma ufake ngesishona nje briefly, ngizakunika 2 minutes.
Ndafara nekuva pano, zita rangu ndinonzi Tawanda Chitapa, ndinoshandira muno Louisville, Kentucky, ndinoshandira company inonzi Norton Healthcare, kwandine oversight of ma analytic functions company. Ma analytic functions kutora zvidziyo zvedata zvecompany yese tozvishandisa kuti tinyatsotarisa toongorere company toona kuti zvakamira sei kuitira kuti zvatinenge tawana kukwana pazvinhu zvacho izvozvo ma-business decisions oitwa ari based on data functions nekuti zvinhu zvakanyatsomira sei. Kuti vanhu unyatsopinda mufield yacho, inini kufamba kwangu ndakaita computer science ku-undergrad, ku-graduate school for masters ndikazoita healthcare administration. Saka ndo mamiriro azvakaitawo neniwo ndo ndakazvirongawo ndikaita kuti ndisvike ipapo. Ndine mwana mukomana mumwe chete anonzi Isaiah, ane 15 years. Tichigara zvangu muno muLouisville.
Bhora Chitapa wakakangana nayo here.
Bhora ndakanganwa handi ndasapota chete. Ndakakura ndichitamba bhora muBulawayo, takakurira kuGwavalanda, ndo kwatakakurira kumusha kuMondoro. But ndichikura kuGwavalanda takanyatsokura chaizvo tichitamba bhora nevanhu vakawanda. Tikazoenda kuIslanders, mawiro andakazoita kuno kuAmerica ndakatobatsirwa neIslanders nemaconnections ayo kuti ndiuye kunoku kuWestern Kentucky University, but ndakatotambira reserve side yeHighlanders and ndikatamba magame mashoma chaiyo first team, but Mwari angaonawo kuti inini zvangu hazvisi zvebhora ndezvemuno mumabusiness, saka ndakazongosiya bhora racho, ndakuwara, ndapedza college handangu kuzokwanira kuendera mberi nayo.
Ko uchisvika palamba wauchiita sei?
Ndichisvika kuno ndakasvika ndiri mwana wechikoro, ndichienda kucollege ndichitamba bhora pacollege paWestern Kentucky University, ndo masvikiro andakaita.
Ko waita zvinhu zvako izvi, taura tinzwe kuti munhu kana munhu achiita kujoina field yako anoita sei?
Ndonyatsokurudzira vana vadiki kunyanya vanenge vachiri kuchikoro muZimbabwe kuti ngavashingirire nemabhuku, nenyaya yekuti mabhuku emaths, estatistics, nyangwe masciences ndo andinotokurudzira, nyaya yekuti anonyatsokugadzirisira kuti paunenge wazosvika kuti wakupinda muurongwa hwekucollege, zvawakadzidza izvozvo ndo zvinozodikwa kuti zvinyatsokufambira, zvinokuisa pachigaro chekuti zvinozozkurerukira kana wakuzodzidza macomputers.
Une kambani inonzi Eland LCC, taura nayo, taura
isu tiri vana mhofu vemukono vekuMondoro, saka pandakatangisa consulting company yangu inonzi Eland, inobatsira nezvemakombiyuta muzvipatara imomo, ndakaitangisa 2008, saka ndakangoti beta idedza kuti inzi Eland LLC as a node to my ancestors ari kuZimbabwe kuMondoro, kuti ndo zvataakuitawo izvi. Eland LLC has helped makampani akaita fankana Stanford University, University of Miami, nana Sada Healthcare kuCalifornia, nekuvabetsera kuisa macomputer systems muzvipatara zvavo.
Saka mashoko ako kupedzisira wakati kudi?
Aiwa, mashoko ekupedzisira ndeaya yekuti kumaZimbabwe ese kana muri muAmerica sungaidzisimbe. Anzi kunoku kuAmerica Eland vanoiti land of opportunity, saka nyangwe zvako vamwe zvinombovaomera mbijana, chandinongokurudzira ndechekuti sungaidzisimbe, munyatsoronga zvinhu zvacho izvozvo zvichakufambirai.
Tawanda, thank you very much for giving us an opportunity to know a bit about you. There you are, Jonga. So the young man really knows his stuff, you know.
Chandifadza Gibbs ndechekuti imhofu yemukono ndaasekuru vangu, amai vangu ndaachera, saka waona zvinoitwa nana sekuru vangu.
He really does his best in what he's doing, you know.
Aiva, vanoziva zvavari kuita.
Yes.
Yes, Gibbs, before we move on, I just wanted to update on the red list. As you know that Britain announced yesterday that it was going to remove all the 11 countries on the red list this morning, 4 a.m. British time. And I think that has finally been accomplished. Zimbabwe, including Angola, Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, Nigeria, South Africa, and Zambia. They were the 11 countries on the red list. And as we speak, I think they are now off the red list. And people from these countries who were in quarantine in England, I think they were going to be released, depending that if you test positive, then you remain in isolation at the quarantine center. But if you test negative, you will be released. No mandatory quarantine now.
Yeah, kwanya kunjalo ke i-red list leyo eliyaziyo Zulukandaba ekade ikhulunywa lilizwe leBritane. Siyakwazi ukuthi Zimbabwe namhlanje lamanye amazwe akususiwe kulist yakhona le njengokuthi okajonga. Siyabona sibili lapha ke kulombiko ovela ku-Agence France Press, le-Reuters, le-Associated Press, bathi yes sokunjalo. So ke bathi nxa umuntu engatest etholakala enganingamanga kuhle kangako, balakho ukuthi bathe ekhaya kumbe avalelwe lapha avalelwa khona. Kodwa ke kaya i-good news Jonga
Ndizvo.
Zimbabwe.
Ndizvo Gibbs hongu vadiwa vateereri nevatariri tiri kutaura nenyaya yekuti Britain yakazivisa nezuro kuti nyika 11 dzanga dziri pane yavaiti red list kana kuti nyika dzanga dzichinzi dzine zvizvarwa zvisingabvumiswe kunge zvichipinda muBritain imomo nenyaya yekuti kwaita Omicron kana kuti mhando yeutachiwana hweOmicron inobata yainzi yabata vanhu vakawanda kuSouthern Africa kana kuchamhembe kweAfrica. Zvakaita kuti nyika 11 dzemuchamhembe meAfrica dzinge dzichibhanwa kana kurambiswa kupinda muBritain pared list ipapo. Paine nyika dzaita Angola, Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, Nigeria, iyo yaWest Africa, neSouth Africa, neZambia neZimbabwe. Ndo nyika dzanga dzanzi adzipinde, asi tanzwa kuti kutanga na4 AM nguva dzekuBritain nhasi mangwanani red list iyoyo yabviswa. Hakuchisina mutemo iwo wanga wachirambidza vanhu kubva munyika idzodzo vachipinda muBritain, zvichireva kuti vanga vari mumahotera kana munzvimbo dzanga dzichinzi dzemakwarantini, vanga vachisungirwa kunzi vanga vachigara kwavo vega kwemazuva anga achitarwa. Vanzi vanofanira kunge vachibuda mukwarantini imomo, asi kubuda kwako unenge watestwa ukawanikwa usina COVID-19 wobvumidzwa kubuda iye nhasi zvichienda mberi. Ukawanikwa uine COVID-19 unoramba wamu yavanoti self isolation. Ndaverengawo mune rimwe bepa Gibbs news Sky News vari kuti ivo kumushure mekuziviswa kwenhingi kwemutemo yekuti wabviswa shares anonzi points makambani aya anenge achinzi vari kutengesa pamisika yemari atingati nganditarise
stock market.
Yes, ndinyatsoverenga ndinzwe kuti vari kuti chii. Ndanzwa kuti nyika dzakawanda mashares adzo ati kwirei. Vari kutaura kuti British Airways hanzi iri pasi pekambani inonzi International Airlines Group, mashare ayo akwira ne1.7%. Kwoitawo imwe inonzi TUI akwira ne2.6. mushure mekunge shoko iro rangobudiswa kuti ndo zvaitwa, mashare emakambani abva atanga kutosimuka.
That's good news indeed, because that shows some kind of confidence in the manner things are going, because there are so many people that were concerned about these quarantines and exclusion of certain countries from accessing Britain, USA, and other nations. So there was so much concern about what these countries did. So now if the stock market is actually shaking up, and that's a good kind of thing. And then at the same time, Jonga, we know that there are some electronic passports that were actually launched yesterday by President Emerson Mnangagwa. And it seems Zimbabweans, some are happy, some are not happy. Those that are not happy are saying they now have some challenges in terms of getting these new passports. And they're saying not a lot of information is coming out. And remember, President the late former President Robert Mugabe launched a similar program in 2016, and indications were that the machines that were installed at KG6 Army Barracks by the Japanese and an Israeli company were going to print at least 16,000 booklets per day. Now the big question is, what actually happened to that program? And this program as well has got some people from different countries. And there is one gentleman who used to work for a bank in Namibia, who is actually a Zimbabwean, who is in this kind of business. So there's a lot that people are saying doesn't look okay, but let's see what happens next. Yeah, kunjalo.
Hongu vadiwa vateereri, nezuro takanzwa mutungamiri wenyika vaEmerson Mnangagwa vachinzi vaparura kana kuvhura zviri pamutemo urongwa hwemapasipoti anenge achishandisa unyanzvi hwepamadandemutande kana kuti electronic passports. Vari kuti ivo hanzi mapasipoti iwayo anenge achizotanga kushanda izvozvi zvichibatsira mukuchengetedza atingati information kana kuti zvinhu zvako iwe zvaunoti izvi ndezvangu hazvifanira zvichizivikanwa nevamwe, nokuti unoona kuti kune vanonzi vanoba mapasipoti vachizodii, asi pasipoti iyoyo inonzi inenge ine chip yakawandiswa mukati merimwe remapeji imomo, ndo inenge ine information yako yose. Saka iwewe kana ukanga wabirwa passport, munhu aba anogona kuchinja picture pamberi apo asi mukati zvinenge zvichizobuda zvakasiyana. Ndo zvimwe zvezvinhu zviri kunzi zvinenge zvirimo, hanzi it will enhance security panyaya yekupiwa kwemapassport. Asi vanhu vari kuchema nenyaya yemari yekuti vamwe vanga vachangobva kubhadhara mari dzekuti vange vachiwana mapassport, mabhuku anga aripo iye zvino, zvichireva kuti vanenge vakutarisirwa zvakare kuti mukati memakore maviri vange vachinja Gibbs.
Yes, now Joseph Tshuma was trying to connect. I think he's in now. Mr. Joseph Tshuma, how are you, sir?
How are you?
No, very fine. Jonga, we've got Mr. Tshuma. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, Baba, how are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, my brother. Thank you so much. We are talking about the e-passport. What do you know about this? You know, this was previously launched in 2016 by President Emerson, former President Robert Mugabe, and yesterday President Emerson Mnangagwa did the same, launched the e-passport again. What do you know about these two incidents?
Well, maybe for starters, before I go into that, maybe may I pay my condolences to our comrade who were always interacting with in this platform, Dewa, who passed away some few weeks ago. We're always close, talking and sharing ideas right here on Studio 7.
Thank you.
So rest in peace.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Now, going to that issue of the e-passports, I think it's a matter of understanding the trajectory that the world, the global village is going to. We are seeing a lot of countries are going the e-way, and obviously in Zimbabwe, it is also paramount that we also follow those kind of trends. So it is a good thing that the government has embraced it. Yes, the former president, the late President Mugabe, initiated that, and we have seen even pictures on social media circulating when he was there with these two vice presidents, then who was the current president, His Excellency Mnangagwa, and the vice president, then who was Wampoko, and the registrar general there who was Tobias Mudede. But yes, it was something that was muted, that was supposed to have started off, but it did not. But it's always better late than never. So it is starting again now, and it should start in earnest. So I think it should be something that we should embrace. Yes, I know people who cry and say, now we've been paying for these ordinary passports that were costing about $318, and now you're saying that they are going to be phased out, and then the e-passports come. But look, at the end of the day, it's always about what is happening globally. So if the global world is saying that in such a time we are not going to be accepting that, what can we do? It's just like what happened with our issues in the transport industry. If you remember, government at one time said, no, we are no longer going to allow these left-hand trucks to be imported into Zimbabwe because we want these right-handed trucks. So people were given time to regularize that so that it doesn't affect them as such. And so now the dictates of the global world is that we are going to go electronical. So we also need to embrace that and go with that. And government now just probably needs to see how they cushion the people that have probably taken their passports now. Because I know there are people that have taken their passport like this year, and some had already applied and they're probably getting them next year. So now there must be those adjustments. Government must look at those kind of things to make it easy for the citizen. It's never cast in stone, and it should never be sort of a mystery. It's a listening government, so people must talk, people must engage, people must come up with ideas, and things must be solved at the end of the day.
Yeah, ngesinto ungathini nxa wakhuluma ngesindebele khonapho singakayi kubaba uvusumuzi isibanda, ungathini ngakhonokho kusibili okwenzakalayo Kolide?
Ngiyabonga kakhulu Mthembu. Siyakwazi ubana uhulumende kusukela kuqala kusese ngubaba uMgabe engakadluli bakwenzile khonoko ukubana kulontshe indaba yama e-passport naleyo. Akusazange kwathutha ngesikhathi sona leso. Sokubuyile kade ngesikhathi sababa uMnangagwa sebekuvuselele. Kodwa phela nxa ukhangele asifiki ukuthi phela yinto enziwa yiZimbabwe yodwa, yinto enziwa ngamazwe wonke jikelele. Yikho lapho sokusiya khona kathesi ukuthi uzathi ufika emabhoda abantu bethi hayi le ndala le asisayisebenzisi le sesifuna nale ukuthi i-passport, i-electronic passport. So kuhle kubana ukuthi lathi njengeZimbabwe sibambelele ekuphucukeni kwezinto nxa into ziguquka lathi sibonakale sikhona phana. Abantu bengakhala kade sibethi manje thina abanye phela besisada ukuthatha ama-passport lawa ngama-$318 kade sisithi somele sitshintshe sithathe lawa $100 le-$200 i-emergency yangikhona sokushaya ezikhwameni khona kwana yiko-ke sokumele kona kubuye-ke kuboniswane ngoba uhulumende lo okaba umnangagwa ukhulume wathi yena nguhulumende olalelayo. So akuboniswane-ke sibone kona kuyini okungenzakala ubana kuncediswana abantu bancediseke labo abasanda kuthatha kathesi sibone singabancedisa njani ngoba anti kuthiwa kona i-expiry lokuzela yakhona nguDisemba 2023 okujezela siselo iminyaka emibili phakathi lapha kungakafiki leso sikhathi. So ngasona lesi sikhathi abantu kumele bebonisane kufakwe ama-ideas ubani uhulumende sibone kona kuyini engakwenzela abantu ubana akhushine labo abantu abasanda kuthatha kube sithi labo vele ade sebevele bathatha kudala sokuza-expire labo kuba lula ngoba sebengena i-passport kuhle kuhle kodwa labo abathethe kathesi kubonakala ukuthi kona kuyini okwenzakala ukuthi nabancediseke nalabo abavele beselayinini kathesi bengasangeni kuleyana behle bengene kona lawa amatsha ukuthi ngisuthi kona uhulumende kusomele ababisele izimali zabo nxa ebebhadale 318 liyana abesebembisela i-200 emuva asale-ke esebhadala whether nge-100 kumbe nxa efuna ubhadale i-200 kube njalo. So konke lokhu izinto ezingahlala phansi zikhulunyiswane ziboniswane.
Yes, akuzajonga maybe ungakhuluma la ngesishona khona.
Gibbs imwe nyaya iri kuchemwa nevanhu rekani botanga nati kuna honorable Swanda ndakuti honorable Swanda kuna honorable mutaure yenyu nerurimi rweshona zvamangotaura izvo muchirungu neSindebele then ndozokanda mumwe mubvunzo wandandinawo.
Ndatenda zanani tawa nezvokuti gungu tinoziva kuti nyaya ye-passport yakatanga kudhara kuchiri nababa vaMugabe vachiri president wenyika. Tatoona even kuma-social media panapa mifananidzo ichitenderera yababa vaMugabe vechitokomishina mushina wacho vana registrar general vacho vaiva mudede navice president nenguva idzodzo vanga vari baba vaMnangagwa nababa Mupoko asi hapana zvakazoitika kumashure mazvo izvozvo. Saka hapana chakaipa kuti chinhu kana chambotangwa chizopedziswa neumwe munhu. Saka vaMnangagwa nehurumende yavo vakutopedzisa izvozvo nekuti nyika dzese pasi rino dzari kuti idzo dzakutanga kuenda ku-e-passports ma-electronic passports iwawo ndiwo anova kutoshanda. Saka isusu hatingazosarire mashure kati chingoti aiwa isusu tanga tine iriyo iyi because hatirarame toga katinorarama in a global village. Saka chinhu chakanaka kuti nesu titeedzere nyaya iyoyo yakuitika munyika dzese asi hurumende yakufanira kuti ichititarisa manje kuti right ko ava vazotora mapassport avo manje ava gore rino iri kana kuti vamwe vaifanira kutora gore rinouya iri vochiitwa sei nekuti ivo vanhu ava vanga vabhadhara ma$318 asi aya mapassport manyowani taona kuti imwe $100 emergency $200. Saka ipo paya kunofanira kunge kuchitanga kuchitaurirana. Hurumende iyi yakati iyo ichitanga yakati iyo ihurumende inoterera. Saka ngatitanga kuchiudza kuti aiwa apa dai tadai apa dai tadai. Ndofunga tikaonesana tinogona kubuda nechinhu chinobatika chinhu chichatipa pundudzo tese sevana veZimbabwe tichisanganira neglobal village yedu kwatorarama tose.
Mubvunzo wandachida kuisa honorable ndewekuti kune vamwe vari kuchema kuti tichangobva kubhadhara mari dzakawanda dzekutora mapassport iyaya tonzwa kuti avainawo pari zvino anogona kusanga achiri kushanda mukati memakore maviri. Vari kuchema izvo zvokuti dai vabvumiswa kuti passport yaanga ainayo ipere kushanda ozoti paanenge akurenyuwa otora nyowani. Ndizvo zvamungatsanangura ipapo?
Ndo zvananditaura izvozvo kuti hapana chakaipa ipapo asi chinozongonetsa ndechekuti kana dzimwe nyika dzikazovhara kuti aiwa tichada mapassport ekudhara aya tozoita sei nekuti handinoona kuti inini kana ndingada kubva muno muZimbabwe ndichida kuuya kuAmerica ikoko ndinoteedzera mitemo yekuAmerica ikoko. Kuno Zimbabwe vanogona kundibudisa nepassport yangu yekudhara asi kuAmerica vati iyi hatichagone kuishandisa hatiiride kumasystems edu takuda manyowana ane machips anonzi ma-e-passport. Ipo paya ndopona pachazoita nyaya ipapo. Saka ndopandazoti inini chikurusa ndechekuti hurumende iyi yakati iyo ihurumende inoterera. Saka ndopatichazofanira kutaurana nehurumende manje kuti right hurumende sezvo tasvika panyaya yakadai tochiita sei tochionesana ipo paya vanhu vopanana mazano because hapana munhu ane monopoly yema-ideas. nehurumende chayo yakadaro inotoda kuoneswawo nayo. Saka ndopachazofana kuti titange kuonesana tese ipo pakuti right tochiita sei kuti tirerutsire ava vatotora mapassport avo manje manje, but avo vanga vasati vatora vatove neraki because avo havachazobhadhara ma389 vakutobhadhara ma$100 iwavo kana kuti 200 kana munhu echiida nemachimbi chimbi. Saka izvozvo zvese izvi zvinotaurika zvinogadzirika, hapana chinhu chisingagadzirike pasi rino.
Maybe before you go back to Gibbs, the other issue is the turnaround time, because even the $300, the $318 passport, some were complaining that they were taking long to get them out.
Yeah, ipo paya kuti ndo patofanira kuti tichiongorora, because we know that the biggest challenge yanga ichitika panyaya dzemapassport iyi ndeyekuti mabepa acho anoshandiswa kugadzira mapassport aya hatiwagadzire muno munyika yedu yeZimbabwe, anogadzirwa kunze. And nyaya inodzokera pamanyaya emasanctions kuti Zimbabwe ine mari asi ikatumira mari kuti ibhadhare maservice providers ivavo haisvike mari yacho inobahwa, because mari dzese handinoziva kuti dzinotanga dzafura kuAmerica ikoko dzisati dzaenda kuvanhu kwazofanira kuenda. Yedu yemuno muZimbabwe inobatwa. Saka ipo pano ndofanira kutaurirana manje nehurumende idzodzi kuti aiwa musatidaro, because mukukuwadza munhu wese, because passport haisi kudiwa nehurumende, ikudiwa neni newe. Asi imimi kana mabata mari yokuti vanhu ava hurumende iwane zvinhu zvokuti igadzire mapassport acho, muda kuti zviite sei. Saka ndo zvinhu zvinogona kutanga kuiswa padare zvichitaurwa tichisorovha zvinhu zvakawanda, because chinoti kuti hurumende haina mari yokuti zvigadzirwe zvinhu. Inayo, inotumira mari asi mari yacho inosvika yobatwa, inozoreleaswa after a long period of a struggle nezvinhu zvakadaro. Saka zvese izvi ndo zvinhu zvatofanga tichitaurirana kuti aiwa mukuuraya kana muchiti target sanctions haasi targeted. Mari dziri kubatwa uko kuna America dzinofanira kunge dai dzichienda kunobhadhara vanhu vanogadzira mapepa acho iwawo kuti mapassport acho sei azogadzirwa.
Thank you so much Tshuma. Sicela ubambe khonapho ke sithathe umama Khethiwe Bhebhe. Mabhebhe ungawutshona njani mama?
Siyatshona baba Dubele njani?
Sitshonile. Akutsho wena ukuthi ama-electronic passport lawo wabona njani?
Okay, okokuqala ngithanda ukubingelela ubaba uTshuma, ngimbonge ukuthi ukhona lapha ngoba he's the right person ukuthi ngimtshele lokho engifisa ukuthi ngingakukhuluma. Baba Tshuma, mbona ingani i-statement leso sokuthi uhulumende uyalalela, hayi ujayela ukusitsho kakhulu, and isikhathi esiningi mina I believe ukuthi uhulumende if elalela hanti izinto like you quoted very well ukuthi into leyi yaqala ngesikhathi sikababa uMgabe lapha ubaba uMnanga useyi-implementa nje kodwa yaqala kudala. So considering ukuthi uhulumende wayevele ekwazi ukuthi kulezi mali ezibanjwayo and so forth, kuke kwaba le headline baba Tshumeke yaphuma ukuthi ama-passport asezothatha 10 days, each and everything kuyaphuma ama-headline, passport wars come to an end. If at all ulikwazi ukuthi imali ziyabanjwa okwenza kube lama-challenges, then why mislead the public? Okwesibili baba Tshuma, if uhulumende engumuntu olalelayo hanti, why lingaqali likubeke emphakathini kuhlafunwe than ukuthi ku-expect ukuthi kuyahlafunwa sekwenzakele, of which ama-results akhona they are never positive and benefiting to us singabantwana beZimbabwe.
Njalo lakhona ukuthi wena i-passport yakho ime njani? Khuluma la ngakho khonokho mama.
Yebo, i-passport yami ngi-aplayele i-passport ye-318 through i-embassy, and ngoJuly I went ngizama ukuthi ngiye-collector, of which ngathola ukuthi kuthiwa i-passport office ivalile due to ukukhula kwama-corona cases. I was not able to collect it. Right now i-passport is pending, and i-passport yo eyinye eyo my sister u-aplayele ngo-2019 kwathiwa eziphumileyo ngezikaJuni sisiyale, of which layo eyakhe is pending, but le ka-2019 yayi-normal passport nje, of which so kwenziwani ngabantu abanjalo. And khonapho ngo-2019 e-aplayela lakho futhi kwakube le headline ukuthi hayi sibili ama-passport kakuthothwe apho ayaphuma, of which as I'm talking it's almost 3 years ayiphumanga. So khonapho-ke abantu bancediswa njani?
Yes, sizwe ke Golide khonapho ukuthi Golide, what has to happen here? Because Miss Bhebhe applied for a passport and paid $318 US, and she hasn't received a passport. So she says the embassy was closed because of COVID-19 numbers that were going up. So she doesn't know what to do now after paying 380. You know, now this electronic one is about $100 for an ordinary passport and 200 for the other passport. So under such circumstances, what has to happen? Call it. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
I think from a simple layman's point of view, njengoba passport akimi ngakaphumi usisi wami sokumele bantu bemprocessele yona le i-passport yangikhona okutshengisela ukuthi kona kumele bembisele $118 i-change yakhe bathathe i-200 bamenzele i-passport yakhe khonapho yiko kumele kwenzakale khonokho yiko kumele kukhulunyiswane lo hulumende khona ukuthi hayi abe flexible enough to be able to do such kind of things ukuthi laba abantu ade vese be-applyile babhadale imali lezi kodwa bengakayenzi lama-passport lawo abahle benzele ama-e-passport angikhona bebiselwe-ke ama-change ezimali zabo lezi ade bezibhadalile. I think that is one of the most fairest thing to do and angiboni ukuthi uhulumende angakwehlile ukubana akwenze khonokho.
Ngicela ufake isilungu sibili ba.
Right, I was simply saying that like for the case of my dear sister here, Bhebhe, who is saying that she had already applied for the older passport, which was costing $318, and it did not come out. I think logic must take that she must then automatically be put on the e-passport list, and the government must be able to actually reimburse a change for that, because if it's an emergency passport, it will cost $200. So which means that they must give it back $118. And if she decides to do the $100 one, so it means they must give it back $218. And this should not be a difficult thing to do. And the government should be able to stand up and support those kind of things. And I think it's only logical. I don't see how this kind of thing, arrangement can fail. So it's a simple matter of engagement. Most of the times we fail to achieve things because we don't want to engage. We quickly then raise our arms and start shouting and fighting and screaming. Yet at times it's only about sitting down and engage people and problems are solved.
Yes, Jonga, maybe you've got a question there.
I think vapindura mubvunzo vanachida kuzobvunza honorable Tshuma ipapo wabvunzwa naamai wekuti ivo munhu anenge abhadhara $300 yake asi passport haisati yabuda pana botaura dziri kunonoka kubuda pai zvii zvingaitwa. Ndanzwa kunga honorable wanga achitsanangura kuti dai zvaigoneka munhu iye aingozochiti since anga akabhadhara achida passport yechimbi oitirwa yechimbi passport yake ozodzoserwa change $100 hamene kuti zvinozobudirira here. Tsanangurai tinzwe neshona honorable Tshuma.
And take into account, Mr. Tshuma, that money coming out of the government is not as easy as running a shop.
Yeah, I know that there can be difficulties in that kind of situation. But look, it's only fair that government must pull up its resources and be able to do that, because they were saying that okay, we've moved from the older passport to the e-passport. So the situation is there, government has gathered the prices, and we know that the prices are $100 and $200, and somebody has paid $318. So logically, they must be given change somehow. I don't know how it can be done, but those are semantics that can be worked out. But this is how I think government should approach it. And those kune vanhu vanenge sisi vedu vamabhebhe vanga vatobhadhara mari yavo vanga vabhadhara $318 vechida passport yechimbi yekudhara yaya, asi kwaunzi ma-e-passport ndo akutozogadzikwa. Saka ivo ngavachigadzirwa e-passport yavo yechimbi iyoyo, asi vechizodzoserwa change yavo $118, government yosara ne-200 yayo. Saka ipo paya ndo patinenge tichionesana nehurumende kuti tozviita sei. Tinoziva kuti at times zvinonetsa kuti mari ibude, asi apa mari ngaibude because kune vamwe vanhu vachauya kuzotanga kubhadhara mapassport manyuwani kana vechibhadhara nekuti hurumende yanga yatora mari yakudhara. Ngavachitatora mari iyoyo vochireimbursa vanhu ivavo vanga vata sei, vanga vabhadhara kudhara. Ndofunga account dzacho dzikadaro dzinogona kubhalansa, chero accountant akaita sei anoibhalansa chete balance sheet yake iyoyo kuti uyo auya kuzobhadhara yake 200 yaya tobva tatora 200 yaya toidzosera mabhebhe iwewe change yako $118. Saka iyo 118 yako imwe yacho yochipinda kugoza andi yanga yatopinda muhome yehurumende kudhara. Saka there must be those kind of logistics zinogona kuitika ipapo.
Mabhebhe uyasuthiseka yini ngakho nokho?
Yebo ngiyasuthiseka, and if I'm allowed bengicela nje ukubuza ukuthi in the event yokuthi i-passport isi-ready already khona ema-ofisini but it's not yet collected ngase ngibhadele, so still kabe kulokhu ku-possible yini ukuthi nxa isiprocessiwe yaphela but not yet collected they can start afresh with the amount that I paid, because kule possibility yakhona lokho. Number 2, okunye bengicela ukukucela kumbe ukukubuza kubaba uTshuma lapha engani ulapha on behalf of the hulumende ukuthi akukho possible yini ukuthi thina esiyabe sivele silapha e-diaspora siyabona lapha amanye ama-embassy akwanisa ukuthi be-charge the same amount baprocessele abantu be-collect eyethu. Kungabe kulama-challenge bani okwenza ukuthi umuntu phinde athathe ifomu alibhadalele lapha aphinde atravele to Zimbabwe to submit?
Ngamafitshane Golide, isikhathi sesidlule kumango ingena khona Golide.
Right, ngiyamuzwa udadewethu. I think vele okufeyiki ukubona ukuthi nxa bengayicollect i-passport ilokhu isezandleni zikahulumende, uhulumende kahle ayithathe i-passport lana ayidabule amenzele i-passport le entsha, ambisele i-change yakhe njengakhona kwesikukhulumileyo, ngoba akusizi vele ukuthi bathathe leyo passport bamnike bephinde besithi hayi phenduka futhi uzoyenza yini. It becomes unfair. So yikho engade ngikhuluma ukuthi hayi uhulumende lo uyalalela, angiboni ukuthi wona angakwala konke khona kwa izinto ezilungiseka lula. Okunye lokho nade ekhuluma ngakho okwama-form lani yikho lapha ade ngikhuluma ngakho sithi bona yikho lapha esisuka kwabana sithi bona sifuna ukuthi ama-sanctions alright yikho kungena khona kahle kahle kwabana sishwama ukuthi bona sithwele nzima kulezinto ezihle ukuthi zenzakale lula ngenxa yokuthi bona kule migoqo ethize thina esiyifakelayo engafakelwa amanye amazwe. Yikho bona amanye amazwe bekwenza kube lula ema-embassy abo process into zabantu zidlule masinyane, kodwa thina ngapha siyabelokhu sibhodiswa round bebelokhu si-targeted. Into leyo ayikho targeted iyalimaza mina nawe at the end of the day.
So-ke Mabhebhe phosela ukugcina sesizwalana uhlelo.
Hayi siyabonga baba Tshuma, and on the issue of sanctions mina mbona ingathi masingakhangeli nganxanye nxa ama-conditions abekwa lina lilibandla elibusayo lani zamani ukuthi libe lithathe step towards those conditions bese sibona ukuthi laba bazaqhubeka laba ama-sanctions selikwenzile khokho kuthiwa bekwenze for the sake of the people. Khonokho nje lama ayingiyabonga.
Siyabonga Jonga.
Gibbs, the other issue, though time is against us, the other issue was people complaining of going through CBZ to pay, and then I think the bank charges $20 to process that. People were against that. They were saying, why is not the government using a POSB, which is also available in many centers throughout the country?
So naturally, Tshuma, that's a very big problem when a government actually goes to a bank and says, can you charge these people to process applications? Why is the government not getting revenue through that instead of using a third party?
No, you see, when government says go and pay to CBZ, it doesn't necessarily mean that CBZ is one taking the money. But government banks with CBZ. It's just like any other transaction. If you want to pay me something and I bank with a bank ABC or CABS, so to say, you cannot go and deposit my money into Stanbic or Barclays Bank. You have to deposit my money into my banking partner who's Bank ABC. So like in this point, government banks with CBZ, and so that's why they say no. You will have to go and pay your money's way at CBZ because that's the account that they use with CBZ vis-a-vis the Registrar General's office. So there's nothing amiss about that. It's just the coincidence that government banks with that bank. If they're banking with another bank, they would have put the other bank. It's just a simple matter of saying government banks with CBZ. Simple.
I thought the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe was one bank in which the government has got a 100% stake, and maybe everything goes through there, even if it's not a commercial bank. I mean, at the end of the day, it has to have CPZ as a transitory bank, you know.
No. RBZ is a monetary authority. It's not a bank per se.
Yes.
So, government does not bank with RBZ. It banks with the ordinary banks. I know it has got other accounts with the FBC, for example, There are some other parastatals who will tell you that they bank with the FBC, others bank with the CBZ and stuff like that. But in this particular instance, the Registrar General Department banks with CBZ. So that's the only simple thing. It's just about
Thank you, Tshuma. Thank you, Tshuma. I think our time is up. We wish to thank our guest this evening, Mr. Joseph Tshuma. He is a Central Committee member of the ruling Zanu PF party. Ms. Khethiwe Bhebhe, who is a Zimbabwean living in Botswana, and all those people that actually joined us, including Mr. Tawanda Chitapa, who is a Zimbabwean living in USA. Signing off is Gibbs Dube in Washington, D.C., saying good night, Zimbabwe.
And Jonga Kandemiri from Maryland saying goodbye. And remember to continue supporting Studio 7.
Good night.